Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Boruto anime review. This one's going to be for episode 116, which is called Konohamaru and Remon. And this was a surprisingly good episode, especially by the end when they basically revealed it was a two-parter, or at least, that this story is going to continue into at least one more episode, if not more. I think it really actually is a good idea, because these episodes can tend to be interesting but then kind of forgotten over time. So the idea of setting up a potential love interest for Konohamaru, if it was just a one-off episode, you'd kind of be like, oh, it'll come and go, because they did that kind of with Naruto and some of the filler arcs and some of the movies at times. But here's your opportunity to actually set up sort of an ongoing character of, here is the character Konohamaru likes. They actually have a nice dynamic, and whenever you need to do some fun stuff, you can always go back to the fact that, hey, Konohamaru kind of has a girlfriend, depending on how this arc actually comes to an end. But in that sense, that's what this episode was about. It was Boruto went to the movie at the start with Chocho and Sarada. It happened to be a romance movie, and he didn't get it. He didn't get the sort of subtext of the romance, and he was very much like, but they didn't say anything to each other, so there was no romance. And the girls obviously got what it was going for thematically, but he didn't get that. And then it's about him seeing that basically happen right in front of him with Konohamaru and Remon meeting, but realizing by the end that, oh, this is what's going on, they actually like each other, and then trying to kind of push them together. But right at the end, of course, after her one day going around the Leaf Village, she goes back to where she's from, and then it's basically revealed that it seems like she is forced to be a different type of person when she's at home compared to who she actually is. And she tells them both to leave, and the idea is that they're going to investigate why this change is happening. And they seem to set up that the guy with the red hair right at the end is controlling her in some way, or else is forcing her to be like this. And we're going to get some sort of a setup for that. I get the feeling that it might be something like she's engaged to marry him or something like that, but he's super controlling or something like that. That might be one way to go about it. But most of the episode was just some kind of cute, fun relationship dynamic stuff between Konohamaru and Remon, of awkward Konohamaru who hasn't really thought about this stuff all that much because he's very focused on, being a ninja, path to becoming Hokage. He says the ninja way is his girlfriend and so on. But then he actually grows to really like Remon, and she really likes him. And the main thing they sort of got across was she seemed sort of inspired by Konohamaru's sort of determination, and how he's taken, I suppose, what's happened to his family and has used that to sort of drive him forward, and she kind of wants to have some of that herself. And it also seems that she sort of lives a sort of sheltered life, and that's probably part of what's going on here, in that everything in the Leaf Village was a kind of surprise and interesting to her. And Boruto and Konohamaru showing her Thunderburger, or this shop here, this food item you can get, was all unique and interesting to her. So I thought this episode definitely had a fun dynamic throughout, and just that little bit of hey, a romance-focused episode, we don't get those too often, but when it's done well, it can actually add a really nice dynamic to the series. And that, Asuma's death in original Naruto hit home so much because they had directly shown us that he and Kurenai were in a relationship. So, it allows that sort of stuff to happen. So I think Konohamaru, if they commit to maybe at the end of this, him actually just being in a relationship with her, or setting that up that it's on the table at some point, that's actually a pretty good move for me. I think that adds a nice dynamic. It makes Konohamaru that little bit more interesting, that there's more to him there, and so on. I think that's a really good idea to go for with the character. I think beyond that, there's not too much to say, because I definitely want to see where the arc is going, because it was, like I said, just a bunch of kind of awkward, but then a few cute kind of romantic moments. I probably the best moment for that was when Konohamaru offered to buy her one of the hairpins, and she asked him to choose which one, but he was kind of like, oh, they'll both look okay, and she gets a little bit angry and is kind of like, no, choose one, and he chooses one, and the fact that she wears it immediately shows, that it means something to her, that it was chosen by him. So, and that was probably one of the more kind of telling points of, like, she comes from sort of like nobility, and she's from a wealthy family, but the idea of her kind of holding on to this relatively, like, kind of cheap item compared to the fancy kind of hairpin she has on the other side, it's kind of this nice kind of symbolic type thing of just her holding on to that. And that will probably be used in the next episode, the idea of, like, they'll come across her and she'll have that hairpin, and that will show that she's still there, nothing has changed, but she has to act that way in front of everyone. So yeah, I won't go on too much longer here. Just they were my thoughts on the episode. Enjoyable. I'm actually glad it's getting a two-parter, and it gives me some hope that I actually kind of want Remon to become sort of a character they'll go back to every so often, and I hope it isn't just resolved and those characters are just pushed to the side forever. I'd like them to be used a bit more going forward, depending on how things go. But they're my thoughts on the episode. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on Boruto episode 116. But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.